Hi, actually, I can't hear you well. Can you
Oh my
can you
god.
hear me?
Did we miss that introduction? Okay, thank you, Taka, for joining us today. So,
Of
for
course.
everyone who has joined us, technical, a little bit of difficulty over there. So, I'm excited to bring to you our 49th Community Voices episode called The Cross Cultural Edge. And we are going to be discussing a lot about design research and how cross cultural fluency really makes a difference. And of course, I am your favorite SDN ambassador and host, Sudesh Mehta, and I'm excited to bring with me Taka today. So, Taka, tell us a little bit about yourself and thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you so much for having me today here. My name is Takayuki Kato. Please call me Taka. It's simple and easier. I was born and raised in Japan, living in the United States right now in Portland, Oregon, beautiful city here. I'm a design researcher and strategist. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about my design journey and then also how I feel, how I think about design research, and then also maybe we can talk about the cultural like understanding how we translate those kind of things. Yeah. Do we want to just go deep dive in like who I am, like what kind of career I had, kind of things as well?
Yeah, kind of. I think just to start us off, tell us a little bit about your service design origin story, something that we do with everyone. We get to know because you've had a very diverse professional experience and you've actually explored different fields and then started service design. So it would be lovely to hear how you discovered it and what got you started in this field.
All right, cool. So after the college, I got a job, or I started working at the Japanese airline, which is called All Nippon Airways in Japan. An HR system in Japan is quite different from other countries. I don't know. I know the US, but HR will decide like what each employee does or like which department we're gonna work on, those kind of things. So I was assigned to the cabin crew section. I was a roster man, and then also I was transferred to a government sector for 2 years. Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry in Japan. I was in charge of bilateral relationship between Japan and Australia, New Zealand, and like Asian countries, how we can enhance, like economical situation, like relationship, trade, industry, those kind of things. And then I got a position in Mexico City to open a new route and an office. So I spent 3.5 years in the Mexico City, did a bunch of things. That was kind of like starting point of my kind of design career, I will say. So I try to understand the Mexican market, Japanese expats living in Mexico, and then like what kind of services we need to provide. And then I was in charge of the in-flight meal quality from Mexico City to Japan, especially in business class. So like I try to find the problem solving using like observation, those kind of things. And then the COVID time, I got transferred back to Japan as a CX customer experience strategist and the researcher and the headquarters in Tokyo. Yeah, that was a kind of start, like really seriously, like thinking about the service design and then also design research kind of things. But it was a COVID time, so it was really hard to understand users or passengers because we have limited resources, limited passengers, and the limited engagement, direct engagement with passengers as well. So we like completely focused on quantitative research, and then I was like, I don't know about that because I understand how people answer surveys. Survey is really nice. It's really clearly communicating with us like what number tells, but we need a reason why people chose those numbers and like answer. So I decided to um, shift my career and went to graduate school, Institute of Design at Illinois Tech in Chicago for a year. And I learned design strategy and the design research. And then, yeah, I spent 3.5 years at Ziva Design in Portland as a design strategist or consumer insights and trends analyst. That's kind of like my career. Yeah, let's start from that.
You've just listed out the whole thing. I love that.
Yeah, that was everything.
I have so many like questions at different points of like, oh, how did you actually talk to customer like in the aviation industry, especially during COVID? I think that would be super interesting. But also, I do want to know in terms of service design, once you've had like a formal education versus when you were personally just engaging with service design on your own, like what was the change for you and what was interesting to observe how your practice evolved?
Yeah, totally. I think the design research in the COVID time in the aviation industry was pretty tricky. I think the practice got changed so much. So like I can't tell anything about it right now, but based on my experience, what I did was like focusing on the customers through the quantitative research. So we send a survey link to all the passengers in international domestic flights, and then we asked a bunch of questions based on our customer journey map. So we have 15 steps from like reservation or credit card to reservation, and then they go to the airport, and then the airport experience in flight, and then a destination airport, and then also like from the airport to the final destination, those kind of things, and then like understand the satisfaction, like how was it, how do you like it. But what we could understand deeply about the passengers was only like from the numbers and then also open-ended questions, which is not enough. So we went to the airport, did observation, and then had a discussion with a bunch of different departments at the airline. But that was kind of really, really limited. So that's why I just wanted to shift it to, like qualitative research. I think that qualitative research has much powerful, like, I don't want to say much, but like, yeah, pretty powerful kind of, tool or impact on this design. What was the second question you said? I'm sorry,
No,
I talked.
no worries. No, that was super insightful to hear. I guess the second question was just about when you had a formal, because you were doing customer experience and a lot of things that we already do in service design before you made a formal shift and then you got a formal education. So, how did your practice evolve, especially because you also moved countries
Yeah.
a couple of times? So maybe just talk to us about how your service design practice has evolved. You can talk about specifically that point, or you can maybe zoom out and talk broadly also about how the practice has shifted over years.
Thank you. I think the pre-designs kind of education, like I was just trying to understand what's going on and like focusing on what I want to know and then what I believe the company needs, those kind of things. It's more like kind of, navigating myself on like team in the fog, really deep fog. But we had support from other consultant agency in Japan. We worked together with them. They know much more about us, so like they told us a lot of things. So like I was trying to understand, trying to learn from them. But after the graduate school, I know what I need to do and then what kind of effect we can learn from those researches. Like research practices are so much, like different things, not only observation in the survey but also like in-depth interview, and then also how we can use that like raw data, how we can translate from raw data or like learning or observation data to insight, which is quite different. And then from the insight to like how we can analyze and synthesize it, like what does it mean for them, and then what does it mean in this project, right? So that kind of like thought process was really clear. So right now I'm a little bit more confident doing this job compared to like my life at the airline.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I'm also like Is I'll just take a moment. I also see a couple of folks already chiming in. So, a note for everyone who's joining us live, please drop your questions in the chat or tell us where you're joining from so that you can be super engaging. And we will have like a Q&A at the end of the session. So, Taka will be able to answer you directly as well. So, yeah, drop your comments in the chat. Now, back to the journey that you shared. And you mentioned that you're quite more comfortable now with the approach that you have and the practice that you've built. I guess one specific thing that comes to my mind, it's written in your profile, so more around like you're trying to make like a current shift from growing as a thoughtful team player into a strategic voice. What was the part that kind of sparked that evolution for you?
Um, if I understand your question correctly, so like I was a team member, but like how I changed my design practice as a strategist, that was a question.
Yeah, like what motivated you to be like, hey, I need to be a strategic voice
Mm,
right now? More like definitely you are an amazing team player, but that
I hope so.
evolved somewhere, and you thought that hey, now I need to be more strategic. I need to have a voice. And what does that mean for you? First, I guess that means very different things to different people. And what made you come to that conclusion?
Yeah, strategic voices. I mean, like I have no differences like in my mind between the strategic voice and then also kind of team member. Each team member needs to have a strategic voice so that we can create a better solution together and make bigger impact. But like as a strategist, the important thing is like I need to have a clear mind of like what I believe we need to do. And then that is like kind of difficult point to kind of, like align with all the people like in the team. Like everybody has different opinions, different understanding. So like each step of this design practice, like we need to have a certain point of, like kind of agreement or engagement to align on what we are doing, like where we are kind of, like going towards. That's pretty important to me. But strategic voice is such an important part because like strategy is made by or like based on the research or like what we know or what we learned. And then sometimes like a design researcher is like expected to show what we learned and then that's it. But like no, design researcher should be also like strategist because we know the customer voice, we know how markets are changing, and then we know what's going on around the world as well. It's like we have all the ingredients, and then we don't want to be like just or like I think design researchers shouldn't be just like chef in the kitchen, but like sous chef. But like we need to be all like chef. Like we need to create a better sauce, and we need to create a better dishes for the passengers, or customers, or like whatever clients. Yeah, everybody should be like really good team player with clear strategic mind. If that's answer your question.
And I guess everyone would also be curious when thinking about turning your insights into strategy. How do you even go about doing that? A lot of people, yes, they have their, okay, we do have the customer persona, then we have the journey map. I think beyond that, what are some of maybe frameworks or way of thinking that you have in your career explored that could be super exciting to turn that as you said, turn you from a sous chef into the actual head chef. I love the analogy. Yeah.
So I think I learned quite a lot at Ziva around that kind of things. Like we create innovation, we make innovations. Like it's not incrementation, it's not changing a little bit. Like how we can make bigger impact. That's the most important thing. And then the strategy is like important thing is like where we going, right? What is our north star? Like where we going, and then to get there, what we need to do, like podcasting, and then we are here, and we know the customers are doing this, customers are saying this. and then also the market is going that way, and then the market is shifting from this way to this way. So like era analysis is really important to me. Like I want to understand why this is happening right now, and then what was before. That's why this is happening right now. So like what we can expect to, like what's going on in the future, right? It's like we need to like see the future, but like to get there, what we need to do. So that's kind of like the first strategy work. Like, okay, what is the goal? And then, okay, to get there, what we need to do. Yeah, I think that's the framework and like thought process that I have for the strategy.
Yeah. Tell us maybe with an example. I think everyone would really appreciate something that is concrete, especially for you, what that would look like.
Examples. I can't tell anything about my client, but
You know, confidentiality. You know, you
yeah.
could also like refer to your like aviation days and be like, hey, this is what we could have done better at that point of time.
So yeah, I mean, when I was at the ANA, I should have like conducted research a little bit more than outside of this quantitative research, because we understand that like COVID changes like passengers' behavior, and then a belief system, and like value those kind of things. But like we didn't know how like concretely like what's gonna happen, like how people will feel. Like that was the based on my understanding. Like people were like, okay, I believe people will be like this because I experienced this. But important thing is like I'm not the user, right? This is like design practice all the time. Like at the ID as well, Institute of Design, like we said, okay, we are not this, you are not the user, right? So like we can't judge everything based on my experience, my thought process. Yeah, but I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, I think that's the most important thing to uh, think about, like strategy.
Yeah. And think about users.
Yeah.
It, that's like as you said, that's 101. We're not the user, and I love that you brought in like, hey, the belief system has changed, the values have changed. In this new context of the world, how does a user behave? A lot of
Yeah.
the times, we are always so rooted in the present that hey, this is how the user is behaving now, and this is going to be exactly the same in the 2 years time we put in the new system. And so many people don't consider that shift in mindset and belief system that happens over the years. For a simple example, it could be like within 2 years, maybe the number of people that will be using your service is not Gen Z anymore. It's more Gen Alpha. So, what does that look like? Uh,
Hmm.
so, yeah, I know there are two aspects that are super interesting that I think that would be great to have your perspective on. One is when you're doing user research, you have done a lot of translation work between cultures because you have a very cross cultural experience. So, what does that fluency look like, and what does translation really mean in the practice? And next, we can talk like a little bit about the across generation aspect of it. But let's dive into the translation bit first.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't answer your question previously, but yeah. And so I will say like translation is like maybe people expect to have like, okay, Japanese people will be like that, and then US people will be like that. This is like kind of cultural differences. But the important thing is like I'm not typical Japanese. I mean, like I spent my 30 years in Japan, but like like Japanese people also like really vary, right? Because like people may have Japanese people really punctual, Japanese people really polite, Japanese people really love traditional things. Like maybe people believe that Japanese people love anime or eat sushi, ramen every day. But that's not like that's a stereotypical like image of Japanese people. But in the Japanese among the Japanese people, we have different kind of personas as well. So like important thing is like just get rid of our bias,
Hmm.
and then translate is like, okay, there's a pattern of each nationalities. Maybe they have like tendency patterns, but like who are we talking to, like what is our design target, and then who they are, what kind of lifestyle they have. Those kind of things is like a really basic thing that's really important. No biased, but like understand like correctly who they are. That's like base, like really first step as a translation for the translation. But important thing for the cultural translation is how they shift it, right? Because like what we talk about, what we when we have a conversation with certain people, like maybe people say like that's beautiful, that's exciting, but the meaning of beautiful may change, maybe different. Your beautiful is different from my beautiful, and then his beautiful may be different from your beautiful, right? So like important thing is like how what does it mean, like what do you mean by beautiful, what do you mean beautiful by that, like what do you mean, like why, can you explain it a bit more beautiful, like is it like floral beautiful or tiny, like small, like cute beautiful, like what kind of beautiful talking about. That kind of like deeper insight is really really important to me. That's kind of like translation. And then also we need to translate that insights to something impactful. So like that's kind of like translation from the insights to the synthesis part. That's also translation too.
That was so interesting. You talked about three aspects there. One is language translation itself. Like, beautiful in Japanese might mean something so different to beautiful in English. And at the same time, beautiful for you and me is different in this context. So even while doing qualitative research, we looked at, or quantitative especially, we get like, hey, so this is an adjective. What do you think? We get three, four metrics, and we're like, this is the feature or this is what it should be like, but we don't dive into that depth of what kind of what is a better way of saying it, what kind of value or what kind of scenario it creates in your mind. That could give very interesting insights.
Yeah. So also like if you say beautiful, the definition of beautiful is based on our experience that we had. Maybe like beautiful mind, it's like it's shifting right now because like if I live in like in the city, and then if we move to, let's say, kind of really forest, then like maybe the definition of beautiful changing, right? So like I want to understand how people feel about the beautiful, and then like beautiful in that moment, and then also beautiful in their lifespan. That's also different, right? So I think that's pretty interesting, and then that's really hard to read through quantitative research. As you said, like the research or content research is like if it's a survey, it's like five, four, three, two, one. It's
Yeah,
like very good and then very bad, very poor. But like, what do you mean by very good? What do you like? What is the very good thing that you have in your mind other than this five, right? So
exactly.
I want to understand a little bit more than that because like I can't make a decision. I can't make a strategy only out of it, right? It's like yeah, that's why I really like qualitative research.
Definitely. And that is so vast. I'm also thinking like, hey, that is so individualistic,
Mhm.
and at an individual level, it differs from person to person. Then how much deep do you go in, and where do you know how to stop? Because if you started researching, I think you could go on
Mhm.
forever. But one question that a lot of researchers have is how macro or micro do I get at any point? And then when do I pause and be like, hey, this is a good enough space where we have enough patterns to kind of get those insights?
Yeah, I think like as you said, like if you conduct a research or interview, like if you say like, okay, after five interviews, we may see patterns, right? And then I think that's good enough to see, okay, those are patterns. But like I want to do like a little one more layer
Hmm.
below. Like okay, people keep saying this, people keep like behaving like that, but like why so? We need this why, right? Because like that's the most important thing, why people doing this, the reason why people doing it, that's why we need to do this, right? So I think that's the kind of like the minimum requirement for me as a researcher.
Hmm.
Okay, pattern and then why. But like we need to go like deep why one more time, because like if you do analysis and synthesis, we always like, okay, people keep saying that. Why? Because like this is a reason, but like why so? What's the uh, things working behind that? And then we need to do kind of cultural research like steep analysis or era analysis, and then competitive audit, those kind of things. What kind of lifestyle people live in? That's why people are saying that. So like that's like really micro, but like macro perspectives, like we need to see a little bit more bigger than that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the limitation is like how confident we will be. If you
Mm,
can say like, okay, I'm confident to say this, then the research is good enough. But I think the research will never good enough. Like it's never ending story. But yeah.
yeah, that is true. That is true. And
Mhm.
how do you kind of see designers, I guess, take on this role of translation for them, for us designers, as we think ourselves in that research space? That- How do we position ourselves, and what kind of role should we take on to make sure that all of these insights gets translated? You said it could be translated into something measurable or impactful, right? Um, how what has been your method to do that?
That's a really good question. Since AI is coming in, and then also our lifestyle is changing. We have different generations, we have different tools and like values. So like designers, or like especially in the researchers, I believe that we need to see the world as a big picture, and then also really sensitive with the changes. Those two are really really important. um like if you work on the project, or like if you working as a designer or researcher in house, like we focus on like this industry and then this project and this product. But like important thing is like people or users are living in the bigger world, and then we tend to forget about it, right? So like we need to understand, okay, passengers are taking the flight, but actually they have life outside of the airport as well. What kind of lifestyle people have? People are using this shampoo, but like shampoo is important in the bathroom and then also outside the world. If you meet my friends, like my friends said, like, "Oh, your hair look great," and then like people feel better. So like they have like social life after shampoo, and the shampoo has that impact as well, right? So like we need to understand the whole picture, like bigger picture. That's the most important thing, especially in this changing world, right? And then also like I try to can you hear me? I think you're frozen. I mean, are
So
you right?
yes, I am frozen. I was trying to unmute. It took a while. That's okay. Just tell, keep talking to us. I'm here. I'm
Okay.
listening to you.
All right. My like biggest challenge as a designer or researcher is always bias. So like try to think about like how I can get rid of bias. But when I was talking to other senior researcher in the project, and she's like really great mentor to me as well, she said like it's really impossible to get rid of all the biases but that we have. But bias can be our kind of character as a researcher. That's like how I see the world, right? So that's the most important thing as a researcher as well. So like researchers, we need to have a really good balance of uh, in the big picture, in the big world, like who we are and like what we're seeing, non-biased but like slightly biased from my perspective, and that's great. So that's really really important to me. Yeah. And then translation part as well. Like designers are not creating this kind of like, I'm sorry, this is my perspective, but like designers and artists are different. I'm a calligrapher. I draw like Japanese calligraphy. I'm a licensed teacher. But art and then design are different. Design is like we have purpose to change something, and then art is a self expression to me,
Hmm.
right? So in that case, design, like we need to think about like what kind of impact we are given, and then maybe it's through business. So in that case, like we need to think about a business as well. So like we need to have like a really good balance of like users and then businesses, and then also like trends, like what kind of life we have, what kind of what time of life we are living in, what kind of world we are in, and those kind of really nice balance we need to have as a researcher and a strategist. Sorry to talk too much.
No, like this is your platform. We're here to hear from you. And I love how you differentiated between like a designer and an artist, because a designer is essentially moving towards a goal, whereas artist is more self-exploratory. It's like going inwards, and rather than being accomplishing some kind of metrics or trying to be successful in something, it's just self-exploration. So I love that you put it out there. I'm sure a lot of people agree. um, yeah,
Yeah,
I,
I'm still learning. I'm not like perfect human and perfect design researcher and stuff. So like this is my perspective. I really want to learn like what other people think about those things as well. So like yeah, please leave chat any comments on chat and stuff. That'd be really cool.
yeah, definitely. As people are diving in the chat and everyone sharing their comments, I guess right now they're just taking in all the amazing insights that you've been sharing with us.
Pressure.
um Curious about, as you said, like design research, you just keep learning about the practice. What are some of maybe a challenge that you have faced personally, and that you're currently either navigating, or you know you'd kind of given advice to your younger self, hey, you can navigate it differently now that I know.
That's a really good question here too. I keep suffering from the imposter syndrome. As I said, like design research is like a never-ending story. There's no like perfect design research. There maybe, I don't know. I haven't been there yet. Well, if we work with the different designers or design researchers, they have different perspectives and the different approaches, right? So always like, okay, their approach is better than me, better than mine, and then my approach is not perfect. And then I'm not sure if I can provide the maximum of, like insights and like synthesis and all the data, design research result. That's something like I always like kind of suffer from. But the important thing is like we are not doing the research by myself or like ourselves. Like we have team, and then design is always teamwork, right? One person cannot do the design work. I mean, design work is like not only the graphic design, but also like graphic design is like we need to have someone to see how my design look like, and then how I need to understand how people kind of perceive or what's a perception of my design work, right? So like design is a teamwork. So yeah, if I say something to my younger self, it's like just be confident. I'm keep saying that to me as well right now.
Like we
It's
all
not
need
only
like a mirror of ourselves telling that back to us. Be confident.
yeah, be confident. Um, yeah, I feel a little bit more confident about my latest report that I wrote about the generation alpha at Ziva Design. If you're
Yeah.
interested in just like check it out on my LinkedIn post, or yeah, Ziva's Gen Alpha report. It was like pretty much I was like a main researcher and like author and everything. But like of course I had a teammates, and then I have mentor, I have directors, like everybody gave me a lot of really good insights about on my, research. So I was not confident first, but like building something together with people and then create a lot of colors in the report, and then report becomes more impactful and beautiful. I like that process.
That's amazing. Do share the link with us. We'll share it in the comments later. But for now, like Gen Alpha, that is very interesting. I haven't had anyone speak about that. To start us off, tell us a little bit about the report, or rather, let's start with what is one misconception all of us have about Gen Alpha research
Ooh.
that you demystified in this report of yours?
So Jennifer is not the kid anymore. That's why I want to say to people. Because like oldest Jennifer is already 16 years old. And then
Wow.
yeah, it's like I don't remember the quite like the exact number, but I think that 60% of American Jennifer have already made money somehow. So
No.
like they are not the kid that like who we used to be, right? It's
Right.
like they're completely different. They are making money out of selling the clothes or like thrift shopping, and then also like gaming stuff, and like there are so many different ways to make money right now, especially in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was saying to multiple companies like, okay, you guys, Gen Alpha is coming, and then they are already like making money. They are already in the industry, in the market. It's
Right.
not too late to start doing something for them, but you guys need to think about it right now. That was a clear message that I was telling.
That is incredible. So you're telling us first, you're telling us all of you're old. So look at this new generation that is already, in their teens and they're already starting their own businesses and
Mhm.
earning on their own. So they actually have purchasing power, and a lot of companies and organizations are not even looking at this growing market that's already in existence. So that's crazy.
Yeah, and especially Gen Alpha is quite different from Gen Z or millennials. I'm a millennial, but like a completely different, right? So like marketing target or messages or social media or all the media like they're consuming, everything is pretty personalized. Not only, like Japanese guy living in Portland, like 30 to 40 years old, like likes this. Those kind of like mega, like, big kind of persona type approach. It's not like that. Like Gen Alpha is receiving information like 16 years old high school student in Portland, Oregon, likes to do this and this and this, and then evening time she does that, and then nighttime she does that. So like all the data are captured, and then based on the data, they are kind of targeted and receiving all the information. So like the market itself or their perspectives are so complicated. It's not simple at all. It's like really difficult for many industries. Yeah.
That is really interesting. I'm also curious a little bit about like the aspect that you told. It's super personal, it's hyper personalized actually.
Hmm.
We have personalization and there is hyper personalization, and I think we're
Yeah.
moving towards hyper personalization.
We use
So
a not nuanced in the report. Yeah.
true. It's almost scary because it's like they know the entire routine of the day, and it's
Hmm.
targeted to a point that you're going to the gym and then you get ads for maybe your shoes and gym clothes and specifically those things because that is when you need it. Can you like just taking a few steps back in the report that you mentioned that you did a research on? What was your research about, and what was like a fundamental shift? And we've been talking about the fundamental shift you've been observing, but are
Hmm.
there other ways that the interaction has changed, or the engagement, or maybe the thought process, belief system, something that has changed for them?
So through the research, like I can't talk to the Gen Alpha people just like Gen Alpha, right? I
Yeah.
need to have someone next to them because they are still younger generation. So like I talk to the parents as well. I feel like important, like it's really difficult to differentiate if this is like kind of typical teenager lifestyle or like life stages. They are developing their personalities right now. That's not about the generation, right? That's about like kind of human development, kind of personality. And then like the generational tendency is different things, like what kind of life they have, and then it's different from other generations. So like first of all, that's really we need to think about like how to differentiate it. But on engagement, um, my impression is um, they live in both physical and the digital world, right? So like they have friends in school, but they have friends in Roblox, and then both are friends. So like engagement, like how they engage is quite different. But like the important thing is like in the digital world, nobody is protecting them because
Hmm.
parents cannot see them, what they're doing, who they are engaging with, and then what they are talking to. So like it's really for the parents as well, it's really unknown world. And then like people like millennial parents are really worried about them, how to protect their kids. So like engagement wise, I think it's more kind of they are that Gen Alpha is navigating engagement by themselves without any kind of guidance. It's
Hmm.
like I wonder like how they're gonna be in the, like when they turn to 25 or something. But it's off topic, but it's really interesting because I talked to Gen Alpha kids in the United States, Japan, Sweden, South Africa, and Mexico. Three of them from different countries said exactly same thing. Like what kind of world they want to live in when they turn 20. They said, I want to live in a small village where I can trust my neighbor so that I can leave my pet on vacation. Means that they are not living in the world, right? It's
Yeah.
so fascinating. It's not only the United States or it's not only Mexico. Like it was multiple country.
That is so true. I am going to. We have a couple of minutes. I'm going to open it for Q&A, in case someone has questions, because I continuously have questions for you. So let's just see if we have any questions in the chat. Not yet, as people are typing in. I think we can continue this discussion around the village. I think concept of the village has reemerged. For a while. Everyone just wanted to be uh, people were more individualistic in nature, but now people want to go back to that space where they have like communities that create like a safety net around them.
Hmm.
That has been growing, and the definition of village is also changing because it's no longer like the person just I was born with or grew up next to. It's an entire globe because everything is like a borderless community that you have now, but they want to live with these communities that they have found across the globe. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
What was your perspective about this?
I feel like we created something really sad, world for them because like everything is pretty individual, and then also they are living in the social media, and then they know that the media or information are curated for them, so they are living in the small world, right? They know it already, so like they are really intelligent and clever than who we used to be.
True. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so true. I think a lot of our generation, or previously who were new to social media, we kind of slowly discovered that hey, we all are kind of growing apart. We don't have those broader things anymore.
Mhm.
Like hey, if there's a tour concert coming, that was like a place that was the highlight event, but now
Mhm.
that's not the same. Everyone has like different highlight events, so your reality is vastly different. But
Right.
you said like Gen Alpha is more aware of the fact that hey, this is like very hyper personalized content, so the person next to them does not experience the same thing. So
Hmm.
what does it feel like to just be able to have similar experiences and build shared communities around that, I guess.
Yeah, I think they understand it and then they accept it, but they know what they want as well. And then are they want to have like physical interaction with people as well because like they didn't go to the school during the COVID time, right? So like they tried, but like also like they try to avoid any conflict with other people because like they don't know how to deal with it. So like it's really complicated mixture of like everything that we experienced.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious, like how we can navigate them to the better world. I don't want to make anything like kind of confusing thing for them, and then people suffering from this product of choice. I don't want to make anything, unnecessary. I want to make a bigger impact for younger generation so that they can live better life.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I will end with our final question, which is just around, um, so as designers, what is how do we essentially include this generation in our design thinking as we design for people?
Hmm.
What are maybe three key points that a designer should consider when they are designing for the Gen Alpha audience?
Um, don't compare with yourself. I mean, like, get rid of bias. Try to understand it. You, be a sponge, right? And then, I feel like don't make something like superficial. It's like we need to have a connection, like a mental connection with them, so that they understand the values. It's like we need to understand the value, but like don't make like kind of just cute thing or kids like thing.
Hmm.
We need to have like a little more understanding of them. The third thing will be that's a really good question. Mm, include their parents. Still, I mean, if he makes something right now, parents has a lot of influence to their kids,
Yeah,
and then parents, especially in the millennials, we have really tough time in like like student loan, those kind of things as well. Like war, everything is kind of affecting to Gen Alpha as well. So like think about together with millennials and
yeah,
then Gen Alpha, how we can make better things for both of them.
definitely. So relational, almost think about all the relations that Gen
Mm.
Alpha might be cultivating in their ecosystem. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shaka. We're almost at the end of the session. You shared with us so many things about your journey, about the research that you've been doing, your personal thought process, framework. I know that our audience enjoyed it a lot, and our
I hope
community
so.
really appreciates all your insight. Do you have any final words for them before we close the session?
Thank you so much for having me here. Actually, like in the middle of a career transition. I'm open to connecting with a lot of different kinds of the designers, researchers, strategists, any other people as well. So please reach out to me and then have some conversation and then make some impact together.
That's amazing. I really hope you find your next collaborator right here on the
Thank you.
chat or the section. But thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure to host you and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, as we close this session, I have a quick little gift for you. As you all know, SDGC 26 has been live and the early bird tickets are already up for sale. So scan the QR code right here and join our early bird this year. And yeah, join us in the Service Design Global Conference, which is happening in Germany. And we're excited to see you in person. So, see you in 2 weeks again at our bi weekly Community Voices Touchpoint. And let's keep in touch. Let's keep the conversation going and ask a lot of interesting questions and engage with the community. Thank you so much. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Bye.